What were the Bidens doing to get the money? I mean, 20 different shell companies, 9 different Bidens getting paid. What was the service? What was the product? What was the value they had? The only logical explanation here is it was access to then Vice President Biden, maybe even before that, Senator Biden.
Oh, is that going to be a problem? Is that, bribery and taking millions of dollars when you're vice president of the United States in exchange for favors overseas? You think that's going to be an issue? That was Congressman Jim Jordan. But pay no attention to that. The Washington Post is. What a city it is we have here. Doesn't get much more corrupt than this. And I've got a bunch for you on this today because there's more. Last week we had the 2 IRS whistleblowers testify under oath before Congress, and the Democrats objected. They might have burned a police car or something. I'm talking about the members of Congress now. They don't want to hear it, and neither does the news media because they're just front groups for the Democrat Party. It's kind of tragic, really. But if you're in the news business and the Washington Post is not, CNN is not, then you'd be covering this story because it's, how you say, a big story. It's a big, big story. And the news media, they're just not up to the task of covering the story. They're not good people. They're not honest people. If you're married to one of them, you shouldn't trust them because they're untrustworthy. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Very untrustworthy indeed. All right, let's get into a whole bunch of stuff because we got you may remember, the corrupt Biden family, Hunter Biden, Joseph Robinette Biden, his father, who's now president of the United States, was vice president of the United States. And then in between, he was the former vice president and future president of the United States. We learned recently, because the House Ways and Means Committee made it available to the public so we could all see how corrupt the president of the United States is, a communication from 2017. Now, let me go to the New York Post story because the Washington Post didn't cover it. From June 22nd, from a month ago now, eh? And a month ago, the media is not covering it. First son, Hunter Biden, warned a Chinese business associate. Why did Hunter Biden have Chinese business associates? And did the Chinese business associate have close ties to the Chinese Communist Party? The answer is yes, he definitely did. So first son, Hunter Biden, warned a Chinese business associate in a 2017 text message that Dad Joe and his political allies would, quote, make certain that you will regret not following my direction. That's Hunter Biden playing tough guy with a Chinese communist and a business associate while negotiating a 6-figure business deal. The July 30th, 2017 WhatsApp missive, WhatsApp way of communicating around the world instantaneously thanks to the patriarchy. The WhatsApp missive from Hunter Biden to Raymond Zhao with close ties to the Chinese Communist Party, was revealed to the House Ways and Means Committee last month by IRS Supervisory Agent Gary Shapley and made public back then. And here's what it said, his communication to Chinese Communist business associate Zhao. He wrote, I am sitting here with my father. That's kind of pointed. Just a good opening, strong opening statement there. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. He said, that's what he said to Zhao. That'll get your attention. Tell the director, I love it, the director, it's like an episode of Mission Impossible or something with the communists on the other end of the line. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Z, the letter Z for Mr. Zhao, and Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, now we got the director and the chairman definitely dealing with commies, and Zhao, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me, That would be his father, the future president of the United States and the former vice president. And every person he knows, everybody he knows, Barack Obama and stuff, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, his ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. All right, so this is the language of a thug, of a gangster, of a pimp with a gun who will shoot you in the head and kill your dog too. He wrote, I'm sitting here waiting for the call with my father. His father is Joseph Robinette Biden. He's currently the president of the United States. And all this is fine with the people of the New York Times, right? So this is how they're threatening. It's a shakedown, right? This is Shakedown 101. And now there is a news story out just today. The Daily Wire has the story and the Washington Post doesn't. One of Hunter Biden's best friends, or his old best friend, but he was a close enough friend, Devin Archer, where Hunter got him a no-show job with Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company that funneled millions of dollars to the Biden family coffers, $5 million to Joe Biden, $5 million to Hunter Biden. The Washington Post doesn't think this is worthy of note. This is honestly, and wait till you hear law professor Jonathan Turley. It's bigger than Watergate. Remember how everything during Trump was bigger than Watergate? He went and got lunch and it was bigger than Watergate. Everything was bigger than Watergate. None of it was anything like Watergate, much less bigger than Watergate. This is bigger than Watergate. And we have a news media that's so completely in the tank for the Democrat Party that they don't even show up. Where's Bob Woodward? Where's we need Carl Bernstein? We need we used to call them reporters, and they were Democrat Party activists too. But hang on, because I've got an update. Hunter's former best friend, who got the $1 million no-show job with Burisma, the gas company in Ukraine. They never had to go to Ukraine or know anything about gas companies. It was a good arrangement, if you're a crackhead. Hunter's former best friend will testify that Hunter had dad, we know who that is, on phone multiple times with foreign business partners. I guess that's why he's his former best friend instead of still being his best friend. But the Daily Wire has the story today that Hunter Biden's former best friend testifying on Capitol Hill this week. And he will testify, now according to reports, that Joe Biden was on the horn and on speakerphone with him, because the shakedown doesn't really work unless they know that Hunter Biden wields enough power to have dad at the table. Hunter's the front man, right? He's the bag man. That's the appropriate term, isn't it? Bag man. And you remember he explained to his daughter, Hunter Biden did, one of the communications on the laptop. He told his daughter, I'm not going to make you give me half of your income like my father does, right? Because he gets all these illegitimate jobs, thanks to dad, from being vice chairman of the board of Amtrak. Why? Woo! Because he had an HO train set when he was a little kid. Those are fun, aren't they? So the Daily Wire writes, in a direct challenge to the Biden family narrative, everything's a narrative, isn't it? It's a line of BS that see the definition number 2 of narrative. Hunter Biden's former best friend, who served as a director of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma along with him, will reportedly say that Hunter Biden put his father on the phone roughly 24 times as Hunter Biden spoke to his foreign business partners or business investors. What were they investing in? Joe Biden has repeatedly claimed he did not speak with his son about Hunter's foreign business dealings. No, he never talked to any of his. Why would he talk to Hunter about his business dealings? Like that time he flew over to China with Joe Biden when he was vice president on Air Force Two, and had business meetings and then lied about it afterward. And then they all lied about it, and everybody lied, and the news media was fine. They didn't follow up on it, so now we've got a corrupt president living in the White House. What was Michael Piercy's line this morning? The question you might ask Joe Biden, what did the president know and when will he know it? What did the president know and what will he know it? That's kind of a timeline non sequitur, isn't it? But perfect for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden repeated, he said that never talked to Hunter. Devin Archer, 48 years old now, will testify before the House Oversight Committee and is expected to say the calls happened in his presence. You know, there's Tony Bobulinski, too, who has testified to the FBI, closed-door session, 6 agents, 6 hours. Tony Bobulinski, who has testified to Congress. You know, all of this is true. And on MSDNC over the weekend, they're screaming and yelling and pounding the table, saying this has all been investigated and it's all false. It is. They lie like people breathe. They do it with such ease and alacrity. And they had Ali Velci, remember, who told us that the burning building behind him was mostly peaceful during the riots in 2020. He's been a laughing stock for years now, but that's okay. So Devin Archer, he will testify at the House Oversight Committee. He's going to say that the calls happened in his presence. The New York Post reported, adding that a close associate of Devin Archer said that he is testifying out of his obligation to his civic duty. The associate stated Archer has nothing to hide, no revenge to enact, or anyone to protect other than his family, and he feels he has been handcuffed by the absurdly bogus fraud case into remaining silent, right? Said he's been handcuffed into absurdly bogus fraud case. He's being bullied into remaining silent, so he resents that, and he's going to come forward and, he says, through someone else, tell the truth. In a forum where he has immunity, he can at least start to speak truth, his associate said. Archer's family has allegedly been targeted with death threats. You know, it isn't always the death threats. Michael, when's the last death threat we had? Is 8 minutes ago, 11. You know, just ignore them. You know, people angry on the internet. Honestly, just calm down, silly pants. Put on your big boy pants. So Archer's family has allegedly been targeted with death threats with warnings to keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut, right? Since it was revealed he would testify. We are looking forward very much to hearing from Devin Archer about all the times he has witnessed Joe Biden meeting with Hunter Biden's overseas business partners when he was vice president of the United States, including on speakerphone. House Oversight Committee Chairman Representative James Comer said one of the meetings Archer will discuss occurred on December 4th, 2015. Now, he was vice president of the United States at the time, when Archer and Hunter Biden reportedly had dinner with the Burisma board in Dubai before they were contacted later at another hotel by senior Burisma executive Vadim Pozharsky, who told them Burisma owner Mykola Zlochevsky needed to contact Hunter Biden. Biden reportedly called his father and put him on speakerphone, then introduced Pozharsky and Zlochevsky, adding, they need our support. They need our support. You see, Hunter Biden got his father, Vice President of the United States, on the phone, on the speakerphone, with these two Ukrainians and said, quote, they need our support, need our support. And then Hunter Biden got the prosecutor in Ukraine who was investigating Burisma, got him fired. Because that's what, that's what corrupt families do. And he's corrupt. So I got that. Now I've got a bunch of audio for you too, and all kinds of great stuff coming up on this, because the Biden family is corrupt. It's an organized crime family, and it's being exposed. And if you're not aware of this now, then you haven't been listening to my show for very long, I think. True, and it's not guilty until proven innocent. There is a mountain of evidence, a river of evidence coming off of Capitol Hill and from the IRS whistleblowers and backed up by still anonymous, in some cases, FBI whistleblowers. Hey, breaking news. President Biden's plan to introduce a digital dollar is already underway, already in progress, and it's vital to understand the potential consequences. Contrary to what they're telling us, this initiative is not in your best interest or mine. Time is of the essence, so taking action right now is absolutely necessary to protect yourself and your financial future. You can help protect your savings from the risk of the digital dollar by diversifying with gold and silver IRAs. Call the experts at American Alternative Assets. Call them today at 888-4GOLD20. That's 888-446-5360. Call them for guidance on safeguarding your retirement savings. Say no to Biden's digital dollar. Call 888-4GOLD20. That's 888-446-5360. Call them today. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own tax, legal, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. I don't know how much evidence has to be on the table right in front of us before the Washington Post covers this story, but apparently we've not reached that threshold yet. We are at 888-630-9625. I've got a lot more on this coming right up. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. All right, I've got a lot more to get to. Tony Bobulinski weighed in on this Biden family corruption a long time ago. Now, Devin Archer is coming forward under oath on Capitol Hill this week. And there is some reporting on it, not from the New York Times or the Washington Post, but the Daily Wire and the New York Post, combining the two. Right now, let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Leo, calling from the great state of Colorado, listening on our WMAL website. Leo, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Leo.
Long time no talk since I moved out here. Since we're getting all these government agencies that are starting to realize they need to do some accountability of all this money from the cartel, Biden cartel, where's the government accounting office? You traveled on Air Force One and stuff, and if you're not actually part of the flight or anything, you're just joyriding around like these guys like to do, Hunter. How come GAO's not stepping up and saying, hey, you've got to reimburse the government, the taxpayer, for all this travel, unofficial travel, that you seem to be enjoying?
Oh, that's an interesting, you're right about that. When the White House press pool travels on Air Force One, for example, they are required to reimburse at whatever business class rate the Air Force. Last time I looked, unless they did away with that, but I don't think they've done away with that. That's an interesting fun fact. And there should be records, right? Well, I have received an update from a great friend who is a longtime member of the White House press corps. Since I was talking to Leo in Colorado, and Leo raised a good, legit question about Hunter Biden flying on Air Force Two when his father was vice president, going to China doing business deals on behalf of the Biden family. And Joe Biden lying that he knew nothing about any business deals that his crackhead, stripper, knocker-upper, Russian hooker Dayton's son, smartest guy he ever knew, Hunter Biden, knew nothing about any of his business dealings. And now it's being revealed that all of that is a lie, as though there were any real question about it. But it turns out when you fly on Air Force One as a member of the press, because a very small number of press, one TV reporter, camera crew for television, one print reporter, one print photographer, still photographer, right? A press pool, a small number of press people. And there's a little kind of room. Well, it's not kind of, it's a room. There's a small room on Air Force One where the press sits during travel with the president. And then the White House press corps travels separately on a chartered plane, a chartered airliner, which you take out of Andrews, Joint Base Andrews, now Andrews Air Force Base. And the press are required to reimburse the government. And the reimbursement is set at first class airfare plus half. Plus half. So it's not business class. It's first class plus half because you got to charter the plane. And the government charters the airplane, allows them into Andrews, and then allows you on Air Force One for travel with the president. So the networks are required to reimburse the government, the White House, the Air Force, whoever. I'm sure it's a convoluted process at a rate of first class plus half. All right? And Leo said, you've flown to me. We didn't have a lot of time, so I didn't want to go down this road, but I have not flown technically on Air Force One because the president has to be aboard for the airplane to be called Air Force One legitimately. I have toured one of the 747s for a couple of hours and a half and been all over the airplane and all kinds of great stuff. Sat in the cockpit, the flying oval, as they call it, the president's office, the sleep chamber in the front of the airplane, down in the belly of the airplane, George W. Bush's exercise cycle, his bicycle down there, bolted to the floor and stuff. And I have flown overseas on the old Air Force Ones. The John F. Kennedy Air Force One was tail number 26,000, and I've flown on that one. Ronald Reagan's, they call it Ronald Reagan's Air Force One. These are 707s, tail number 27,000, and I flew to Germany on that one for a NATO conference and back home, round trip, and that was a good trip. The Reagan 707. That's the one that's in the Reagan Library now in California. I flew on that one to Germany. And then the 757s, the smaller ones, I've flown those kind of all over the world. And the E-4B, but enough about me. The E-4B is a doomsday plane, and flying with a 747 looks kind of like Air Force One, but it's a doomsday plane that can communicate with satellites and submerged submarines. And the defense secretaries have been known to use the E-4B to travel around the world. Longest flight I ever took was aboard an E-4B doomsday airplane, 747, from Andrews in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C., nonstop to Sydney, Australia. Now, 747 can't fly that far, so we had to refuel in flight twice. Once off the coast of California, and one tanker flying out of Hawaii to refuel us when we were going by Hawaii. And I was able to go up to the cockpit of the E-4B for the refuelings, and that was fun. But enough about me. I don't like to talk about me. That's other stuff. So we got that going. We got that going for us. And and clearly, Leo, there are records of Hunter Biden and probably other Biden family members. And I'm not sure what the rule is with family members coming along. I'm sure they're not charged first class plus half like the press. But let's get to some audio because there's a lot to talk about. And again, now that Devin Archer will be coming forward and testifying, this is going to be big stuff this week. Big stuff, no doubt about it. I'm telling you. Sebastian Gorka, great friend, great friend of mine, great friend of our humble radio broadcast as well, worked for the President of the United States, President Trump, in the White House staffer, flew with the President of the United States, Air Force One, and several weeks later, as a White House employee, got a bill. He received a bill for the 2 fish tacos and Diet Coke that he had aboard the airplane while flying with the president as a White House staffer. You don't get free food. You got to pay for your food. And you eat in the White House mess in the White House, which is close to where the cocaine was found. And you got to pay for that, too, as a staffer. Yeah, White House staff got to pay for meals on Air Force One. So they're sticklers about such things. And that's a fun fact to know and share as well. Yes, it is. All right, now, back to the news of the day, the big news of the day. This is news of the day, too. But boy, I'm telling you. The Hunter Biden put then VP dad, Joe, on the phone with business associates at least 24 times, ex-partner Devin Archer to testify, Miranda Devine reports at the New York Post. And that is a big deal. That is a big, big deal. Because Joe Biden's been lying to all of us about this. The news media has been lying to all of us about this. And you may remember Tony Bobulinski, CEO of one of the Biden family's many corporations. And Tony Bobulinski said, I think a couple of years ago now, that Hunter Biden would routinely put his father on the phone during business calls with so-called associates. And now that's being reaffirmed and confirmed by Devin Archer, close friend of the family, another quote-unquote business associate, right? And Tony Bobulinski said, I'm also aware of other Biden family business associates confirming that Joe would take phone calls from Hunter in the middle of business meetings and would weigh in via speakerphone, sitting with Hunter at Chateau Marmont, where they did a lot of drugs, had a lot of hookers. Before I first met Joe Biden, Tony Bobulinski said, on May 2nd, 2017, when he was vice president, Hunter was adamant that his father takes his calls anytime, no matter what his lawyers say or his gatekeepers like Kate Bedingfield playing interference might say. The American people don't fully appreciate yet the key role Joe Biden played in the Biden family global influence peddling. Tony Bobulinski said, I would equate it to a chairman's role in a traditional business structure. Now, I don't know how many different confirmations you need of all of this, but honestly, man, oh man, you know, Jill Biden, she's not a doctor at all, but she calls herself Dr. Jill Biden. When was it? Was it Thursday or Friday that Jill Biden was at this restaurant close to the radio station called Millie's, and our friend Bill Hess was over there having lunch. And I got word, and I texted Bill Hess, hey, Jill Biden's at the restaurant with you. And he's like, what? She was inside. He was outside, didn't even know it. But, you know, getting my information, right? And now, turns out Jill Biden, she was having lunch at Millie's, kind of a taco restaurant close to the radio station here on Thursday. Now Jill Biden is in Paris. Took her daughter. Which daughter? I don't even know which daughter. Does she have, it's hard to keep track of their kids and grandkids. Even they can't keep track. How am I supposed to keep track? Man, oh man. Yes, sir. That's a fact. By the way, Hunter Biden is due in court this week also. Unrelated news. Now the world can see is the headline. Hunter Biden goes to court as fight continues between GOP and White House. What? But the news media isn't even reporting on this, and this is pretty amazing stuff. USA Today has this story. Now the world can see Hunter Biden goes to court as fight continues between the White House and the Republican Party. Hunter Biden on Wednesday is set to appear in federal court in Wilmington, Delaware, where he will plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay taxes, millions of dollars, over the course of years, multiple years, and has already reached a pretrial agreement, isn't this convenient, on a felony gun charge. That'd be a slap on the wrist. It's no big deal. Wink, wink, little smile for the camera. Don't you know who we are? But a bigger fight continues between GOP lawmakers and the White House. Though the president's youngest son has reportedly paid off his tax debts with ill-gotten gains from the family's coffers and struck a plea deal that avoids jail time, another prosecution continues on Capitol Hill. See, the news media, USA Today, they're going to attack the Republicans now. I can feel it coming. New developments last week in the GOP's ongoing fight with the Biden family included the first public testimony by two IRS agents involved in the Hunter Biden investigation, along with the public release of an FBI document with unverified allegations against President Joe Biden. It's a 7-year-old FBI document. They haven't had time to verify it. Give them a couple of decades, and soon they're going to figure out the John F. Kennedy assassination, just in case. Speaking of which, I've got Robert F. Kennedy audio for you today. He's no friend of his own party, and they're going to try to destroy him. So just amazing. And the unclassified FBI document made public is infuriating the news media and the Democrats, but I repeat myself. All right, let's go to soundbite number 1, Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is one of the Republican members of Congress and committee chairman looking into Biden family corruption. He was yesterday was he on with Maria Bartiromo?
I think so, yes.
I think it was Maria Bartiromo on the Fox News channel, Congressman Jim Jordan.
Now I think we're at the important final stage of this whole thing,
which
is who are you going to believe? The two whistleblowers whose testimony has been consistent, or the Garland-Biden Justice Department, which can't get their story straight?
They do keep changing the story, and the timeline changes, and that's a deliberate tactic, a technique that is used to keep the discussion and everyone involved in it off balance. And when you're at home talking to grandma, it's hard to explain because the story keeps changing, and they like it that way. They're good at that. That's an Alinsky, a Saul Alinsky tactic that they've been using for a long time. And now Jim Jordan talking about the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, and maybe Merrick Garland, who still thinks he should be on the Supreme Court, just like Stacey Abrams thinks she's still the governor of Georgia.
Speaker McCarthy said, if we have to go to an impeachment inquiry, we will in fact do that. It sure looks now, based on all this evidence that keeps piling up, based on what Senator Grassley released this week with the 1023 form, what we heard from the whistleblowers this past week, and the conflicting statements from the Justice Department, it sure looks like we're moving in that direction at a pretty quick pace.
Looks like we're moving in that direction at a pretty quick pace. That's good news. Now, we'll see where that goes. The Republicans are, in my humble estimation, often not nearly aggressive enough in pursuing these efforts. And then, paperwork comes out on a Friday and they say, see, here it is. We proved it all. And didn't even appear in a news program or on the front page of a newspaper. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Is a lifelong Democrat from the Kennedy family. Of course, he's now running for president as a Democrat. And he had a lot to say on this, and I've got a number of audio actuality soundbites cuts for you from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that are, I think, important to hear, regardless of the various details and subtleties surrounding Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I will share those with you. CBD is everywhere. They're putting CBD in everything now. Well, my friends at Generic CBD have infused their #1 best-selling, deep-penetrating muscle and joint cream with CBDs. And let me tell you, this stuff is amazing. It melts right into your knees, your elbows, your shoulder, your back, and especially those stiff hands, the fingers, the knuckles, Goes to work in a matter of seconds, and it's a fantastic moisturizer, too. The company is called GenericCBD.com. You've heard me talk about them before. They sell premium CBD products for a lot less cash. And right now, you can try their muscle and joint cream for free. That's right, it's free. You just pay $2.95 for the shipping, and that's it. But don't worry, there's no subscription. There are no strings attached. They just want you to try their wonderful product because they know you're going to love it. You're going to buy more for yourself and for mom and for everybody. So get your free sample today at GenericCBD.com. That's GenericCBD.com, GenericCBD.com. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or illness. So there you have it. Yeah, I got a lot, and honestly, Robert F. Kennedy, and he kind of quoted me a little bit. I've got that coming up, and we are at 888-630-9625. By the way, Secret Service agents obviously travel with the president and travel on Air Force One and on associated aircraft because a lot of airplanes move when the president moves. Got C-17s carrying the limousines, the beasts, and motorcade vehicles and helicopters, and there a lot of airplanes move when the president of the United States moves. And when Secret Service agents travel with the president of the United States, the White House goes on the road. The Secret Service agents have to pay for their meals aboard Air Force One and the other airplanes too. You give them like your credit card number, and they bill you for the food that's available to you, and you don't even have to eat it. If it's like, no thanks, I'm not eating on this trip. Like, well, you're getting billed for it anyway. Might as well eat. The Navy Mess Air Force One food. I think Navy. Well, I'm not sure on Air Force One. Maybe Air Force provides the food. I don't know. Have to look into that. But we got that. And Hunter Biden, I'd like to know. The New York Times and 60 Minutes right now are busy doing nothing about that. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Donna, calling from Greenville, South Carolina. Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Oh, I love it. You're going to sing it to me, aren't you?
I could sing. Would you like me to sing?
Yes, you do much better than I do. So, hey, listen, I'm just asking. I'm just saying here. Has the government ever paid for any of Hunter's cocaine? And if so, does he have to repay it to them?
That's an important question, too.
Yes, it is.
Facing the nation. Technically, did they ever pay for his cocaine? It's hard to say. I know that, the Ukrainian government or Burisma gas company, the Russian government, the Chinese government, and who was it? Romania, right? Romania, the Romanian government, funneling lots of money, Donna, to Hunter Biden and the Biden family, with which to buy lots of cocaine. Hunter Biden, he's traveled with dope with his father before, right? Right? Are you having a beautiful Greenville, South Carolina day?
It's so stinking hot. It's cooling down a little bit, but it's still so stinking hot. I just think it's absurd. I just want to tell you, for Secret Service people, they have to pay for food when they're throwing hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars away.
Yeah, and, to Ukraine.